This is the Audi A5, a sedan that is best described as being fun, luxurious, and reasonably priced. Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're at Audi of Shreveport here in Shreveport, Louisiana for today's video. If you want to know more about this particular A5 or anything else they have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. Here on the front end, we are going to find our full LED lighting. That's going to include our LED headlights and our LED daytime running lights. You're going to notice the active air curtains right here that are going to allow air to flow through the front end. I like how that looks. Has that trim piece around it just to make it look nice, make it stand out a little bit, but it is fully functional. And the wide grille here gives it a nice stance. Very good looking. We're going to have this upper area right here, and then the lower grille will be right down here. You will also find that we have some safety features with our sensors right here. They're going to be all around the vehicle, going to help you out when driving down the road. And something else, I know a lot of people are looking for an all-wheel drive sedan. That's something that's going to be here. That's that Quattro. So it's all-wheel drive, going to help you out in those low traction situations. And let me get my shadow out of the way. These are going to be the 18-inch wheels. Nothing super duper fancy, but for a lot of people, I know that works because they say, you know what, Tom, I don't like the gloss finishes on my wheels. Now, we work our way up to the side view mirrors. You're gonna have your body color up here. We're gonna have the turn signal indicators built in. They're going to be heated. They're also going to be power folding. Let me hit the button to make that happen real quick for you so you can see that. See if we can get that to happen for us. There we go. Fold those mirrors in. Now, you'll notice that I haven't said anything about blind spot monitoring, and the reason for that is because of the fact that that is actually built in right here. Just so you can see that, that is actually your blind spot monitoring indicator right there, just so you can see what's going on. Now you do have a panoramic sunroof here, however, it doesn't open and it does not have a power shade, but it does have a pretty cool feature that allows it to shade the interior, conceal the interior away from all of that heat that can come from the sun if it's something you're not interested in. And here is your remote. Not a whole lot to talk about. You can see what's there, lock, unlock. You do have a panic button on the back if you need that. Now, to open the doors, there's actually a pad right under here. We probably won't be able to show that as easily, but you just touch that and the door will open. That's going to work with front and rear. Nice body lines. I like the roof line. The shark fin antenna up there with that gloss black finish is going to help that to stand out and just look really nice here against this white exterior color. As we work our way here to the rear, something else that I like, we do have our LED tail lights, and I like that the lighting element goes all the way across like it does. Kind of hard to see that right now because we've got that bright Louisiana sunshine shining down on this. And once again, we're going to have our sensors back here. You can see some of the multiple finishes that we have that really set this off nicely. And I like the fact that unlike a lot of vehicles in this day and age, you still have the true exhaust outlets. They're not faux exhaust outlets. They're not gone completely the way that some vehicles are, so that works really well. You're also going to have your Quattro badge right here, knowing that you have all-wheel drive. Under the hood of the Audi A5 is going to be the 2-liter TFSI. It is going to put out 268 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in a little over 5 seconds, about 5.2. Top speed is a governed 130 miles per hour, and your MPGs in the city, you're looking at about 22, 31 on the highway, 26 combined, and 3.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Now, in case you're curious to know, you don't have capless fuel fill. You have the good old-fashioned gas cap that I think a lot of people seem to prefer over that. Your gas tank size is 14.8 gallons. Potentially, on a full tank of gas, you can drive about 326 miles in the city and about 459 miles out on the highway. Now, those are not guaranteed numbers. A lot of factors will come in to play as to whether or not you achieve those numbers. You might be above, you might be a little bit below. For those of you who own an A5 like this, tell us down in the comments what kind of numbers you have been putting down. One thing I didn't tell you about, even though you probably saw it on the remote down here, is we can also open the trunk area, our cargo area. Now you can do that with a button on the remote itself on the key fob. You can do it with a button that's right there on the rear area itself. or there's a button on the interior. Now here's something that's very interesting. 22.6 cubic feet worth of cargo space, unless you fold the rear seats down, and that jumps up to a very strong and very usable 36.6 cubic feet. You can see that you have the cargo area lighting in here. You can easily remove the cargo cover right here if you want to by simply taking both of these off that it hangs off of, and then you can just pop that right out of place. Very easy to deal with. But overall, I'll say for a sedan, this has a very large amount of space. And when you remove this, it's something else that's good, since you have this hatchback style area instead of a typical trunk, is that you don't have all the body work and everything right here that limits what you can actually haul back here. Pretty impressive. And one more thing, if you're wondering about connectivity, there is a 12-volt power outlet back here in the cargo area. All right, let's talk about what your backseat passengers are going to find. Now, I'm 5'10". You can see a little bit of space above my head. If you're 6 feet tall, better call shotgun or sit in the driver's seat and drive. Here's the sunroof I was telling you about earlier. Now, we're going to show you a little bit more of how you can use the feature available to keep all the sunlight from coming in. It actually works very well since there's no shade here. But let's talk about what we have here. First of all, the armrests. A reasonable amount of space with that on the armrest. That grab handle is nice because you can just grab a hold of that, although it would be nice if that was in a different location, because I can't just lay my arm flat on there. See what I'm talking about right there? But maybe not the end of the world for most people. Now, we're also going to have our door bin down here. It's not huge, but you know what? For a sedan like this, I think it works. Nice design element here as well. We're going to have our door handle right there to get out, and we're going to have the rear seat pockets. More of a net material than pockets, but you can stick whatever can fit in there, down there. And as far as the rear of the center console goes, a couple of USB ports. We'll have the air conditioning vents. You can turn those on or off as far as the airflow goes. You can regulate that right there. And you can also adjust the temperature right here. Can't adjust the fan speed, but the temperature. And one more thing that I really like here, in fact, a couple of things to talk about. First of all, we have the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. Kudos to Audi. Why? Because of this design where they're vertical like this as opposed to being parallel. When there's a cup in one or both holders, you can still use that as an armrest. But there's one more thing. If you need a pass-through, guess what? You have that right here. You can just let this area down if something needs to stick through, take advantage of that additional cargo space, and still have room for 2 passengers. Now, I want to show you something really cool. Via the button right here, we'll give you a little bit better look at that in just a minute. We're going to look up here at the sunroof. You have the switchable transparency option here. Now, what exactly is that? If I push back, here's what happens. There we go. That conceals everything away so the sun isn't shining through. I can also push it like that and bring it back forward. Now, you can actually do it with just 1 or 2 if you want. See that? We can go back and control how many areas we're going to use that opacity with. Or there's actually other options here as well. If I push the button, here's what happens. So we can have everything in 2 different spots, basically, depending on where the sun is located. But I think that's a pretty cool feature. In case you were curious, it's good to know that even though you don't have that power shade that a lot of vehicles have, you still have an option to keep the interior from getting too hot during the summer. Okay, for those of you that were patient enough to make it to this point in the video, what is the sticker price? If somebody asks that in the comment section without a laughing emoji, tell them to watch the video. It's $54,025. Tell me what you think about that price. You do get a lot of car for the money here. Let's see what else you get beyond what we've already shown you. We'll start up here with the upper console. Here's the control where you can take advantage of that feature I showed you with the sunroof. If you want to block the sun out or not, going this way or this way. We can also push the button, and then this way we actually have the ability to keep everything from being too hot in here. And you can see the controls for the lights. Not a whole lot going on here to talk about, but just wanted to show you that it's there. You'll have a compass built in to your rear view mirror right there. That's going to help a lot of people out, especially when you're in unfamiliar territory. If you're not used to an area, that's going to help. Let's go over here to the passenger side. Going to have the glove box right here. Let's get that sticker out of the way. There's your glove box, and we'll close that up. On the passenger side door panel over there, we're going to find a little bit more space with the armrest than what we saw with the rear doors, and definitely a little more space with the door bin as well. Now, let's take a look at the driver's side here. Quite a few things going on to talk about. We're going to have our controls for our windows right here. Right down there, I don't know how well you can see it. That's the button to open and close your cargo area back there. Here's where you're going to control everything for your side view mirrors and your locks and all that good stuff is going to be here. We can hit the button right here to fold those mirrors in if we want to do that, and then unfold those. Over here on the left-hand side of the steering column, every A5 comes with standard turn signal indicators, and you just use those by flipping the lever up or down. If you've been to turn signal school, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Windshield wipers controlled here, and our steering wheel. A very nice looking modern steering wheel. We're going to have that Audi logo in the center. It is heated. If you want to turn that on, you can. You can control radio and all of that stuff right here. And then we have our controls here, depending on what you want to see. You'll notice it says view right there. So I'm going to push that, and then I can use the arrows to go back and forth either side, depending on what I want to do. On the left side, the right side, whatever it is you need to do, you can scroll up, you can scroll down, and all I'm doing is using these areas right here to do that. If I want to hit OK, I can hit OK. Just to show you a little bit of what's going on where that is concerned. And there are shifter paddles on the steering wheel to manage your 7-speed automatic transmission if you so desire to do so. Now, the virtual cockpit that we have here has a nice modern look to it. It came to the A5 at the 2025 model year, and you can see that you have your built-in navigation here. Now, one thing to note is that you don't have any physical controls for your air conditioning. You can touch the screen to do whatever you need to do, but you don't have to do that. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to raise the temperature a little bit. We'll do this. Hey, Audi, change the temperature to 70 degrees.
I am setting the temperature to 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
And there's all kinds of things you can do. You can even, if you're not sure what you can ask, you can do this. Hey, Audi, what can I ask you?
Maybe you can find helpful voice commands here. Try them out.
So if you want to know about that, there you go. That's where you're going to find those things. You will find that you can wirelessly pair your smartphone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And if you're wondering where all of your icons are, you can see the 4 squares right there. You just touch that, and here is everything. There's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto up there. You've got vehicle. There's a lot here. We're not going to go through everything, but just to show you a few things. You've got your displays right there, lighting right here. You can see, as I was telling you earlier, I like how the lighting element goes all the way across right there. That looks very nice. And then service, and then you have more right here, depending on what you want to go through and see. So there's quite a few options here, some nice features and nice functionality as far as what is available. And you can come here and go into your settings, as you can see. You can come over here to driver assistance and take a look at what you have there. Now, there are several things you can turn on and off depending on what you want to do. If you want fatigue warning on or off, you can do that. You can do the same thing with everything else that's here. We have our warnings right here. You can come in and turn that on and off depending on what you want to do. If you want to leave that on, you can change the tone. You can turn that on and off. It's actually pretty easy to deal with. It looks like a lot, but when you get in here and start working your way around, you find everything you need somewhat easily, I'd say. But this is what you have. Depending on what you need to do, you've got braking right there. You can come in and make some changes. If you don't want your active front assist, you can turn that off. As you can see right here, we can just come in here and just touch that area. I say I can. There we go. And I'm going to hit no, but you can see what you can do with that. And finally, efficiency. Depending on what you need to do, you can come in here and work with your efficiency and make sure things are nice and efficient. Favorites will be right there. You can add whatever you want to. You got a couple more options there as far as that goes. Just to show you a little bit of what's going on here, but it's nice to know that you have your verbal assistant with voice commands. You can take advantage of that. You can come in here with your one-touch options as well. So you go right to whatever it is you would like to. And then if you want to use the screen for your air conditioning controls, you can do that. You do have the heated seats. There are 3 stages for the driver and the passenger here in the front seat. As we work our way down, we're going to find that we have a couple of USB ports here and a 12-volt power outlet. If you'd like to take advantage of that, your wireless charging pad is right here. And we'll also find our button to start and stop the engine. Now, how about your drive select? We're going to go back up to the screen as I push that and show you your different driving modes. So here's what we're going to have. You've got balanced, dynamic, and comfort. Just so you know what's going on there. And right next to that, something that's actually about to go away, from what I understand, the auto stop start feature is going to be done away with sometime in the next few months, I believe. So you won't have to worry about that anymore if you don't like it. And then you can turn your traction control on and off right there. Obviously, that's your hazard light button. And everything for the radio is here. You can mute that. You can adjust the volume, whatever you need to do. Now, we're going to come back to the screen. I'm going to push the button right here. We'll go back to the center screen. And here are our camera views. Now, there's a few different things you can do here. We can come right here and you can maximize the screen if you want to right there. We can come back and do that. And then, if you want to see multiple angles, there's our rear view. You just saw the front view right there. The one thing I do wish was different here is that when you select a view, that you don't have to come back here and touch the screen again to bring up all of your different options. At least that's my thought on the matter. But so you can see a little bit of what happens there with the cameras. And obviously, when you go into reverse, the rear view camera will go back onto the screen. So here's how you work your shifter. You're just going to put your foot on the brake, you push that forward to go into reverse, you can bump it to go into neutral, and we pull it all the way back to go into drive mode right there, or drive I should say, and then go back into park right there. Pretty easy to deal with. Now there is a lot of gloss black here, so keep a microfiber cloth nearby in case somebody decides to play the piano on there and fingerprint that up. Couple of cup holders right here, and then we're going to have the center console. It's not huge, but this isn't a huge sedan. We will find a little bit of lighting in there, a little bit of space. One more thing about the center console lid, you can use it as an armrest. And if this isn't high enough for you, watch this. Push that down, that's the highest setting. You can leave your arm right there. You push the button on the front of the center console lid and you can lower it a little bit more until it's all the way down. Just one of those interesting little features that we found here in the A5. All right, here we go on our test drive with the A5. It seems to accelerate just fine. 268 horsepower, not being a big number necessarily for horsepower, but when you need to get up and go, it does get up and go just fine without any trouble. The seats themselves are pretty comfortable, but overall, a very fun vehicle to drive. Give you that sporty feel, which I know a lot of you are looking for. The technology here, in my opinion, is not hard to learn and use. I know there are a few different menus you have to go through, but you'll be able to find what you need without too much trouble. And you do have your assistant here with your voice commands if you need that, as I showed you earlier in the video, to help for the lack of physical controls, such as for the air conditioning system. Nice to have that option there if you want it. And at the price point for what you get, I think you get quite a bit. The gas pedal and the brake pedal are easy to manage. I like that. As I push down on the brake pedal, if anything, the brake pedal seems to be a little bit soft, but as you push on it, you find that the brakes are still working just fine. And some of that is based on my personal experience and what I'm used to driving. I'm used to driving a large 3/4 ton truck as my daily driver. So for me, the brakes may seem a little spongy here. To other people, they may not. That's why it's always good to make sure you do a test drive before you buy a vehicle. And there it is, the 2025 or 2026 version of the Audi A5. Fun, luxurious, and reasonably priced, especially for this day and age. I don't think this is a bad price. I know a lot of people are going to say the opposite in the comments, so tell me, what do you think a reasonable price for this A5 would be if you think that price, a little over $54,000, is too high? I would like to say a special thanks to my friends at Audi Shreveport for loaning us this A5 for the day so we could tell you all about it, and a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give us the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. That's very helpful to us. Make sure to subscribe and share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and we'll see you there.